Hey, let's go get liberated from the chaos of working in your business on this special episode. It is a music episode of the Business on Purpose podcast. Scott Beebe, your host, or dare I say, your DJ, spinning the funky tunes on this funky episode. Why in the world am I doing an episode about music? Well, a little known thing you may not know about me. When we travel, and our family likes to travel, our mission as a family is to be a gospel-motivated light through adventure, creativity, and time around the table. And so we like adventure, which means we like to travel a lot. And when we travel, we like to spend a lot of time around the table eating. But in order to get to the table, we've got to get on the road and get to where it is we're going. And when we go to big cities, we prefer mass transit, particularly Boston, New York, Chicago, London, Paris, places like that. We prefer the subway. And one of the reasons we prefer the subway is because it's where you can find some of the most unrecognized talent of any city. The reason I wanted to do a music episode is because I've got some real life recordings I want to spin for you here over the next couple of minutes from some real life human beings that you may just walk past in the subway. And I thought you might be interested. It's literally from around the world. Songs from a couple years ago, song from just last week. And I think you might enjoy the point that I'm trying to make on this episode. And here's the point in short. The question as small business owners is, how do you find unique talent? How do you find great talent? Guys, I could argue that a lot of it is just stopping to listen. Just stopping to listen, stopping to take notes, stopping to look at that 22-year-old who's got gobs of talent but doesn't know where to get started. Stopping to look at that 47-year-old who's been tied up in the corporation because she doesn't know to do anything different, and yet she is chock full of talent that is just waiting to be unleashed. Now, there are some talent. You walk by and you're like, I don't know. While we were in New York City, there were two guys that got on the subway, had their little music box, put it on the ground, hit play on their iPhone, started playing it in the subway car, and then proceeded to, how should I say this, pole dance. Like literally pole dance. Now, fortunately, they were fully clothed, everything was fine, but the car wasn't very full. There was probably 8 of us in there. It felt a little awkward, but they literally started to get on the poles, spin around, hang from the poles, do some crazy moves from the poles. Needless to say, they didn't get really any money because that just didn't seem like huge talent. I don't know. Now, this brings up another issue, a social issue that I won't really dive into here. Maybe we'll do this on another podcast, but you might be thinking, do you really give to people who are on the streets? You know, panhandlers, folks who might be strumming a guitar. Yeah, not all of them, but yeah. We do. We kind of make it a habit. We intentionally get $1 bills, and we have no rhyme or reason for it. I will tell you this: when I hear somebody who's performing on the street, may even be a panhandler who might be singing, playing a guitar, playing a horn, whatever, I'm more apt to give because I feel like they're earning it. Like I feel like they're working for it. Now you might say, well, they're interrupting your flow. Yeah, they might be. I don't have a lot of deep theology about it other than to say, you know what, sometimes that's just something we want to do. And will they go use it to buy booze? Maybe. You know what, I might use my paycheck to go buy booze. So we just decided, you know what, that's kind of out of our control. The best we can do is give where we just kind of feel like it, and that's the best I can give you. And so with that, we've heard some of the most interesting songs. I'm going to play my favorite first because I want you to hear this. This was from the Underground Subway in Chicago a couple of years ago, and we were walking in there, and I simply called this The Lady on the Chicago Subway. And I was so excited when I heard her guitar because it meant that we were going to get to hear her sing. And she sang Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. So this recording is on my phone, and I actually listen to it a lot because I just love it. I love the rasp in her voice. I love the fact that she was down underground. I can still see her It was Braden and Ashley and I were all together, walked down there. She had a little headset on with a battery-powered amplifier. She was very skinny, very raily and kind of bony. She didn't look healthy, but she had her guitar and she had her little mic set up down there. She was sitting on a bucket very, very near the tracks. And she was talking to a guy, and she kept talking to him. And I knew the train was coming soon, so I simply asked, "Hey, do you mind playing? The train's about to come, and I want to hear you." And she sang, and it was just so powerful to hear her sing, and that rasp. And it was a moment that I kind of wish Tracy Chapman was there, because I think she would have been proud to hear her song "Fast Car" being sung by this lady on the Chicago subway. But it was all because we just stopped to listen. There's also, when we were in Paris, a couple of guys. One guy was singing a hip-hop song. I have no idea. But it was in French, and he was singing this hip-hop song, and it was so interesting. I thought you'd enjoy having a listen here. You know, it's one of those moments that you kind of wish you could have sung along, because I think it would have been a lot of fun to sing along and kind of hip-hop in the subway car with this guy. What about the next train we got on in Paris, where you had a classic accordion? Of course you did, on a Parisian subway. Can't you just hear it in the background? This is real life. This was going on while we were in the subway. So it sounds so romantic and all that, except for, there's a variety of people in the subway car. It felt a little awkward, but you had this guy playing accordion, and I don't know, it was just so powerful. And we really, really enjoyed it. There was one this last week that was really, really interesting. We were standing waiting on the train, and a guy was just kind of leaned up. It would actually look like an album cover. He had his guitar, long hair, almost looked like Meatloaf, the singer Meatloaf. And he starts playing. Man, it just kind of stopped me in my tracks to hear it live. So have a listen to this. The guy was so gifted. And Jax went over, dropped a couple bucks on him, and it was like he was so, I don't know, it's just proud. It's like his music that he's been working on had earned him some appreciation notes. And you could just tell there was a moment of pride. I felt pride in his effort and the effort that he was giving to allow us to hear the music he was playing. One of the most, I guess, songs of ingenuity that we heard was this last week. This is the final one I'll play for you. It was on the New York City subway. I don't remember what train we were on or where we were going. But there's a guy by himself. He walks onto the subway. He's got a handful of change that he uses as a shaker. And he starts playing this awesome song by the Biebs, Justin Bieber, Love Yourself. I couldn't help but at the end of this clip kind of join in and even try to harmonize, because it was awesome. It's awkward. It's bizarre standing with a guy who's, kind of asking for money and singing for money, but my goodness, at least he's working for it. He's going after it. He's singing a cool song, and so I still have that song in my head. You can go and love. I won't sing it to you, but it's just so much fun. I want to encourage you, as you're looking at talent, you're walking through the subways, as you're walking around town, I want you to stop and notice people. I want you to look at people. Not so much for talent for your business. You might find them there, and it makes for an interesting story, but more so because they're just human beings, and you never know what story is underneath. And yeah, you get a lot of sob stories, you get a lot of signs. Signs, everywhere are signs. I could have played that song for you. But sometimes when they're performing, when they're showing you their art, it's worth just sitting there and listening. So I want to encourage you, the people around you, sometimes take the time to stop and listen. And maybe throw them a note of appreciation of your own. Thanks for joining me on the Business on Purpose podcast. It's DJ Scott Beebe. See you next time.